If you live in Upper Northwest DC, you've probably noticed something that doesn't quite add up. For sale signs go up at an astronomical prices, 3 million, 4 million, sometimes even 5 million and above. And then nothing happens. Weeks go by, sometimes even months. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, another house hits the market and disappears in a single weekend. So what's going on? As we head into 2026, Upper Northwest is defined by one thing more than anything else: a massive pricing disconnect. Today, I'm breaking down the hard data from the 2025 calendar year for detached homes in neighborhoods: Wesley Heights, Spring Valley, AU Park, North Cleveland Park, Forest Hills, Wakefield, Chevy Chase, and Tenleytown, and showing you exactly why the average home is listed around 3.7 million, but actually selling closer to 2.5 million. That 1.2 million gap is not theoretical. It's the difference between a smooth sale and a listing that quietly expires. By the end of this video, you'll know how to price realistically in 2026, when timing matters most, and why Upper Northwest is still a luxury island, even as the broader DC market softens. In 2025, the average active listing price across Upper Northwest was just under 3.75 million, but the average closed sale price right around 2.56 million. That is a staggering gap, and it tells us something very important. Sellers aren't pricing based on today's buyers. They're pricing based on yesterday's headlines. A lot of homeowners are still anchoring to the 2022 peak, when rates were low, competition was insane, and buyers waived everything just to get in the door. Then they're adding a premium on top of that. But the market is pushing back. Now, here's the key point most people miss. A 2.56 million average sales price is not weakness. In fact, compared to the rest of DC, where prices softened roughly 1%, Upper Northwest held its ground. Why? Scarcity. Upper Northwest is land constrained, low turnover, and highly insulated. Months of inventory averaged around 6 months, which is a balanced market by local standards. This is not a crash, but it is also not a seller free for all anymore. Welcome to what I call a show me the value market. Now, let's talk about timing, because in Upper Northwest, timing is money. If you map out sales volume in 2025, you see a very clear bell curve. January, about 24 sales. February and March slowly build. By June, we peak at 68 sales, nearly triple January activity. But here's the part most sellers get wrong: more sales does not equal more leverage. The single most profitable month for sellers in Upper Northwest last year was May. May was the only month where the sale to list price ratio broke 100, landing at 101.1%. By July and August, that ratio drops to around 97%. On a 3 million home, that 4% difference is roughly $120,000 gone, simply because the house hit the market 60 days later. In Upper Northwest, the spring market isn't a cliche, it's a mathematical reality. If you want peak leverage, you need to be live by mid April. One stat that confuses a lot of sellers is this: the average home sells in about 30 days, but the average cumulative days on market is 43 days. That 13-day gap tells a very clear story. Those are homes that missed the mark on price, needed reductions, or fell out of contract. I came. And here's the big shift heading into 2026. Inspections are back, fully back. Roughly 80% of deals now include an inspection contingency in Upper Northwest. If your home is truly turnkey, updated kitchen, solid systems, no deferred maintenance, you're still looking at a 14 to 21 day sale window. But if your home needs work, expect 60 days or more. That's why more sellers are choosing pre inspections, spending 1200 to 2000 upfront to control the narrative is far more cheaper than letting a buyer discover something mid contract and negotiate 50,000 off the price. In 2026, preparation equals leverage. So, what does 2026 actually look like? Nationally, rates appear to be stabilizing in the low to mid 6% range. That's slowing activity, but it's not recreating 2021. And in DC, we have something no other market has: the federal factor. Budget uncertainty, workforce shifts, and long term questions around downtown office conversion are making buyers more conservative. They're not panicking, but they're cautious. That's why areas like Upper Northwest continue to outperform. Buyers view them as safe harbor, long term holds with historic stability. But inventory is expected to rise around 5 to 10% this year. That means more competition. You're no longer just competing with your neighbor, you're competing with new construction in Bethesda, luxury builds in Northern Virginia, and homes offering great buy downs and incentives. To win in 2026, your home has to tell a better story, not just wear a higher price tag. Let's clear up one of the biggest seller concerns I hear right now. Are my closing costs going up in 2026? Short answer: no, not directly. For a typical DC home seller, the tax landscape is largely unchanged. The DC transfer tax, which is usually negotiated but legally imposed on the seller, remains at 1.1% for lower priced residential properties that are below the 400,000 mark and 1.45% for higher priced homes, which is anything 400,000 and above. There is no seller self specified tax increase in 2026 targeting ordinary home sales. Most of the new rules you may have heard about, like reduced recordation tax, these apply to buyers, especially first time buyers under certain price caps. That's actually a good thing for sellers in entry level and mid range price bands because it supports demand. For upper Northwest sellers, the key takeaway is this: your biggest financial variables are still market driven, not tax driven. Price, condition, timing, and concessions matter far more than new DC tax rules. If you're selling a home in DC this year, here's what should actually be on your radar: pricing pressure. Overpricing now leads to longer market time, and longer market time leads to discounts. Rising inventory. More listings mean fewer emotional buyers and more comparisons. Mortgage in the mid sixes still kept buyer budgets and slow decisions. Federal uncertainty. Confidence matters in DC more than anywhere else. Buyer leverage, inspections, credits, and negotiation are normal again. In short, strategy beats optimism in 2026. Here is the bottom line: Upper Northwest DC remains one of the strongest real estate markets in the region. High equity, limited supply, and long term desirability. But the days of easy money are over. Mind the gap. Don't price at 3.7 unless your home truly belongs in the top tier. Target: be live by mid April if you want peak leverage. Be turnkey. Fix the small things now to avoid the 60-day stagnation trap. Selling in those neighborhoods is a high stakes decision. If you want a custom valuation for a specific home, not a generic zip code average, reach out to me. I've also turned this 2025 data into a downloadable PDF guide link below. I'm Sherine Monir with the Sherine Monir Group of Compass Real Estate, and I'll see you in my next market update.